Back in the days of the NES, the Super NES, the Sega Genesis, the hip-hop boobity-bop up on the hills, there were two different kinds of games. The first was your basic action platformer, racer, whatever, when you think of video games, you think of these games. And the second was something called an RPG. These games were almost always top-down at the time. They had very open-ended gameplay, and they were also very story-driven. That was kind of the main thing. They had stories, which was a big thing at the time, because video games don't got stories. What are you fucking kidding me? Go get the princess, that's your story, fuck off. Cut to today, and the RPG has grown into a massive game genre with several subcategories to follow it. So, you may be asking, fucking what even is an RPG? What do you bring this up? What is this shit? Come on, what is this? RPGs are very hard to define since they come in so many different styles, so I decided to make this video to systematically figure out what is and what isn't an RPG, and also to talk about one of my favorite RPGs because I like video games. So what makes an RPG an RPG? In my countless hours spent researching in my study and laboratory, I've come to the conclusion that in order to be an RPG, you need three basic elements. You need stories, you need stats, and you need open-ended gameplays. If a game has all three of these things, chances are it's an RPG. But if it has one, but not the other, fucking get the heck out of here, son. Story is pretty self-explanatory, rhyme not intended. Does it have a focus on story? Then fucking check that box off, motherfucker, you got 1 out of 3. Open-ended gameplay is also pretty easy. Can you beat an enemy in more than one way? Can you take different gameplay routes? Do you quickly Google what the ramifications of doing something in the game will be before you do it? Then you've got open-ended gameplay, woo! Stats are numbers. I'm talking percentages, I'm talking time intervals, I'm talking hit points. If at any point you see the letters DPS, congratulations, you're playing a game with stats. But GTA has open-ended gameplay and story. Well, does it have stats, motherfucker? I didn't think so. There's also normally an inventory, items, and other shit, but it'd be hard to have all three of those things without inventory, items, and other shit. Think of an RPG. You got one? I can tell you, it's got all three of those things. There's a lot of different kinds of RPGs. You got your ARPGs, you got your JRPGs, you got your A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, K, L, M, N, O, P RPGs, and then you just got your normal RPGs. And each of these has its own set of rules to be defined as themselves. Action RPG means none of this silly turn-based nonsense, okay? You get in there and you kill your enemy with your bare hands, and like probably the square button, that one's used to attack a lot. JRPGs, if from Japan, that's pretty much the only qualifier. Also, these normally have a staggeringly large amount of anime in them. Then you got your MMORPGs, which are really big online games like World of Warcraft. You got your tactical RPGs like Fire Emblem, where you get to move around a big board with turn-based combat. I think I've never played Fire Emblem. They got Marth, Ike, and I don't know. This is the only I only know them from Smash, I'm sorry. And then you got your original tabletop RPGs like Dungeons & Dragons, but fuck that, we're talking about video games, fuck you. Last, but certainly not least, is the ever so popular AAA Western RPG. These are the games you've most likely played. I'm talking about Fallout, Mass Effect, The Witcher 3, Elder Scrolls, Skyrim, come along with me. Hey, it's really interesting to see how all of these fall into the same category but are all so wildly different from each other. But again, they all have those three things in common. You got your story, your stats, and your open-ended gameplays. Again, if you forgot, there it is again. And also most of the time they have anime in them, but I didn't include that because they don't always. So RPGs have come a long way since the consoles of the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. Modern RPGs are these giant games that have a massive scope and are normally extremely ambitious. They've got ambitious? They're normally extremely ambitious. Huge game worlds, a compelling story, you can own a dog in some of them, which should automatically give them a perfect score. Unfortunately, that is not how games journalism works, but you know, everything's not perfect. But there is one thing that I haven't talked about this entire video, up until this point, obviously. RPG stands for role-playing game, but I've asked myself recently, is that even a good name for them? Many RPGs, like Chrono Trigger, Fallout 4, Mass Effect, they all have a very set path that sets the game going. What? Many RPGs like Chrono Trigger, Fallout, and Mass Effect have very set paths that the game expects you to go on in the form of a main quest, or maybe just that's how the game goes, like Chrono Trigger, like some of the older ones. And you really have to keep going with the game and do what it tells you, unless you just want to wander around, kill slime things all the time. And Mass Effect is the game that inspired me to make this video. In terms of being an RPG, I think the Mass Effect, at least Mass Effect 2, I haven't played any of the other ones, is a great role-playing game and an okay RPG. In no other game have I really felt like I was the character I was playing as. And I play as a girl. Okay, pretending to be a spaceship captain is easy, but pretending to have a vagina is a whole nother deal. It does a great job of fleshing out the characters and polishing the dialogue sections, which in my opinion are the best parts of the game. The dialogue parts aren't really all that different from games like Skyrim on a surface level, but when you look at what the dialogue looks like in these games, you see that it's radically different. Each scene feels personal and unique, like it's its own little part from a TV show or movie. They're incredibly polished. Then you cut over to a Bethesda RPG, and if you know Bethesda, polished is definitely not in their local library's dictionary. These dialogue parts are clunky and slow, and God forbid you want to have some kind of action play. Fucking Introduction to College of Winterhelm, I forgot the name of it, the Magic College, Introduction to Hogwarts. The other thing about Mass Effect is just how personal everything is. I want to give you a challenge. Give me 5 characters from Skyrim. Now if you're able to do that, give me their personalities, alright? Who are they? It's not that easy, right? I mean, if you were able to do that, then congratulations, go outside and hug your family. My point is that Skyrim has way too many characters, and you're always on the move, so you never get to spend any time with them unless they're your companion. The same goes for Fallout. In Mass Effect, you totally feel like you understand who these people are. All of them have unique personalities except Jacob. You care about all of them except Jacob, and you would put your life on the line to save them except Jacob. I don't really like Jacob. I think he's kind of a bland character. The other thing about an RPG is that the feeling of purpose is so integral to the gameplay experience. The feeling like you have a mission to accomplish and a gameplay drive that keeps you going. In Mass Effect 2, it's to go exploring the galaxy, shoot bad guys, rescue people in need, learn more about your squad, and to be the best damn spaceship captain ever. You're driving Fallout, I don't know, just fucking go walk over here, shoot some dudes, pick some shit up, go over there, pick up some other shit, go to a town, sell all the shit, and then go other places, shoot some more dudes. There's no driving force that keeps you moving in games like Fallout. At least it's not given to you. You have to make one on your own, which is always fun. Maybe you want to get the newest materials for a sweet new piece of armor, so you go to the places and look for all the materials for that. I mean, that's cool. But like, what's a better drive? Building a new right leg armor piece or kicking some intergalactic butt and saving some people? Also, while we're on the subject, who are you in Mass Effect? Cool ass spaceship captain. Alright, cool. Who are you in Fallout? Fucking, what is your purpose for wandering around the wasteland? And if you say to find your son, I'm gonna kick you in the teeth, because everyone knows that's the last fucking thing you wanted to do in Fallout 4. Also, in terms of real gameplay, in Mass Effect, it really feels like you're not really playing a game, you're just kind of pretending. You're playing pretend like you did all those years ago when you were a little squirt, fucking running around the yard, you got your lightsaber, and then you like trick on something, you flip on, you do a sweet kick flip onto a rock, and then you got a sweet scar on your eyebrow, and it looks real sweet, but in the moment it really hurts. My point is that in Mass Effect, it doesn't really feel like you're going from place to place, being like, alright, my mission's over here, okay, alright, and then I got a thing over here, okay, and then we'll go to this planet, okay, and then we'll go over here, okay. The pacing of Mass Effect is so masterfully done. It really feels like there's a perfect amount of time in between missions, and all of the missions are done in such an impressive way that everything feels natural, and it feels like it's a fucking TV show, like Star Trek. I don't even fucking like Star Trek. Chris Pine, more like, no. Now don't get me wrong, I have sunk a total of 102 hours into Fallout 4, New Vegas, and Skyrim combined, and probably a few more hours into Fallout 3 and Skyrim on the PlayStation 3, and I still love those games, especially New Vegas, and that might be another video for a later time, better look out for that one. But looking back, they were great RPGs, just not good role-playing games, and I think that that's what a role-playing game really is. A game like Mass Effect, where you kind of stop thinking that it's a video game, and you just truly put yourself into the character's position, and you just get to pretend that you're a sweet-ass spaceship captain with a vagina. So originally, this is where I was gonna end the video. It was just gonna be a little video about RPGs, how I really like Mass Effect 2 lets me be a spaceship captain with a vagina, and how Bethesda RPGs are kinda messy. And then I started playing The Witcher 3 again, and oh boy! This has the perfect combination of the role-playing This has the perfect combination of the role-playing elements of Mass Effect and the RPG elements of Bethesda games. Nothing is cooler in The Witcher 3 than when you first enter a big-ass city and you're just walking through it like you told about. It's like, hey, fucking Witcher, watch out, bitches. Witcher here, Witcher there, Witcher right here. I'm the only one in this town, probably, unless fucking Ciri's here, by the way. Have you seen her? It essentially feels like a Nakey Jakey Games That Should Bang video for Mass Effect and Skyrim, but if they were like, hey, that's a good idea, start production, you bunches of bitches. It has the same level of polish as Mass Effect in the cutscenes and combat, but the same level of deep RPG elements as Bethesda games in the world and the quests. I honestly think that The Witcher 3, it may be the perfect RPG, but hey. That's just me. So I hope you enjoyed this little thing I made. If you think you'd like to see more of this, let me know. This is just kind of a test run for this kind of video. If I like it, I'll probably make more of it. Anyway, good night. Sleep well. Love you. Good night.